girl in a blue dress stands on the edge of a bridge and then goes into free fall. The picture turns black and white, and we are transferred to a piano. A girl named Bella Baxter awkwardly taps the keys with her hands and feet, while a man with a disfigured face named Godwin Baxter watches her. At lunch, Bella eats with her hands and spits out unpalatable food like a spoiled child. Finished with the meal, Godwin kisses the girl on the forehead and goes to work. Bella sees Godwin off, awkwardly following him and calling him Papa. Godwin, being one of the best surgeons in London, passes on his knowledge to his students, most of whom are much more interested in the teacher's appearance than in his lessons. Only a young student named Max admires the hereditary surgeon whose father built the place. Godwin notices Max's diligence and invites him to become his assistant in one project. Back at the house, in which Bella is entertained by breaking dishes, the girl joyfully jumps on Godwin, after which punches Max in the nose instead of shaking hands. Seeing Max's misunderstanding, Godwin explains that the girl is now recovering from a brain injury, and despite her age, her developmental level is now at the level of a 2-year-old. Godwin suggests that Max observe Bella and note her progress, to which Max eagerly agrees. The next day, Max follows Bella relentlessly, noting down everything she does, from what she ate to how many words she learned today. One day, while reading Bella a bedtime story, Godwin tells her that he took her in after her parents died in South America. This sparks the girl's interest in the outside world, and she eagerly looks at maps in Max's company. Wanting more, Bella climbs the stairs to look out over the city. Impressed by what she sees, Bella throws Godwin a tantrum, demanding to go for a walk, and he reluctantly agrees. They travel to the countryside in a mechanical carriage, where Bella wallows in leaves, having never seen anything like it before. As they sit down for a picnic, Godwin tells them why his body is so disfigured. It turns out that his father often did experiments on little Godwin, trying to figure out exactly how the human body works. On the way home, Bella wants to take another walk in the city, and being refused, attacks the doctor, but he quickly calms her down with the help of chloroform. Having put the girl to bed, Max searches the doctor's office and finds papers about the experiment on Bella. Deciding that there is no point in hiding, Godwin tells everything. One day he found the body of a pregnant woman on the riverbank. Taking a chance, he transplanted the brain of a still-living child into the mother's body and reanimated this creature. That's why Bella is acting like a child. The next day, Bella finally discovers the delights of puberty and even tries to comfort the maid in this way, but Max explains that it is immoral. A little later, Godwin and Max discuss the incident, and the doctor suggests that Max take Bella as his wife. Max is surprised, as he thought the doctor had kept Bella for himself, but Godwin reveals that his reproductive system has also suffered from his father's experiments, and his feelings for Bella are rather paternal. "I am a eunuch and can fuck her." Max proposes to Bella, and she, excited by the promise of touching each other after marriage, accepts. To draw up the paperwork, Godwin invites a lawyer named Duncan Wedderburn into the house. While the doctor reads the prenup, Duncan, under the guise of going to the bathroom, begins prowling around the house looking for the bride. Being an inveterate heartbreaker, Duncan quickly charms the naive girl. That same night, he sneaks onto Bella's balcony and proposes to meet on the roof. There he cleverly manipulates the girl, promising to free her from this house and take her on a trip. Bella immediately goes down to Godwin and informs him that she will soon run away. The doctor tries to talk the girl out of it, but she is adamant. When she is packing for the trip, Max enters the room and says that he will not let her go anywhere, but Bella calms him down with a handkerchief with chloroform. Soon Godwin appears and sews rainy day money into the hem of her dress, then kisses her on the forehead and lets her go. The story gets colorful again and moves to Lisbon. There, Bella and Duncan go to restaurants where Bella tastes gourmet delicacies for the first time in her life, but most of the time they engage in what she calls furious jumps. One day, when Duncan, tired of furious jumping, has fallen asleep, Bella goes out into the city, where she admires it with great delight. Having relieved her stomach from an overdose of pastries, she returns to the hotel. Meanwhile, concerned about Bella's disappearance, Duncan paces nervously around the room, and when she returns, he asks her not to go anywhere alone again. The couple goes to a restaurant to meet Duncan's clients. There, Bella embarrasses Duncan in every possible way, spitting out food and trying to punch a screaming child at a neighboring table. Duncan has to take the girl aside and explain how to behave. Back at the hotel, they are met in the lobby by a lady who calls the girl Victoria, but Bella says she's mistaken. The next day, the couple goes to a restaurant again, where Bella, hearing music for the first time, goes into a frenzied dance. Duncan joins her and the dance quickly turns into a fight because another man has winked at Bella. Back at the hotel, Duncan notices some man's signature on the girl's thighs and realizes that Bella has run away again. The man realizes that he can't contain her unbridled temper, so he comes up with a plan. In the morning, he suggests playing a game in which Bella needs to hide in a trunk, but a few hours later she finds herself on a cruise ship from which Bella can no longer run away. Meanwhile, in London, Godwin falls unconscious at one of his lectures. Waking up, he lies that he just had too much alcohol last night, and knowing that his time is running out, he asks Max to find a new body. Together with Max, they revive another girl named Felicity, but her development is much slower than Bella's. Still resentful of Duncan for kidnapping her, Bella no longer wants to do furious jumps and immerses herself in reading, gradually gaining new words and knowledge. She meets two passengers, a straightforward woman named Martha and a hardened cynic named Harry. Bella tells them about Duncan and how she sometimes wishes she could throw him overboard. But their conversation is interrupted by Duncan himself, who leads Bella away. He proposes marriage to the girl, but she reminds him that she is already engaged to Max. Bella spends more and more time with new acquaintances discussing complex philosophical issues, which clearly does not like Duncan. We are all cruel beasts, born that way, die that way. Unhappy that the girl is no longer that naive, silly girl, he throws her books overboard, but realizing that it is useless, goes to the casino. At one point, Duncan even tries to theatrically throw Martha overboard, but he is quickly stopped. Troubled by philosophical ideas, the girl heads to Harry's room, where she questions his thesis that all humans are just cruel animals. Harry does not argue with her, but instead only suggests a walk in Alexandria. There, from the balcony of a posh restaurant, he shows her a poor area where people are starving to death. Having suffered the first psychological trauma of her life, Bella is about to jump down the stairs to these people, but the man stops her. When she returns to the ship, she sees a dead drunk Duncan, who has won a large sum of money at the casino. Bella quickly collects the money to give it to charity, but on the way out, she is stopped by sailors, who inform her that the ship is leaving. They promise to give the money to the poor, and the girl naively believes them. Back in the cabin, Bella reports that she has given all the money to the needy, which infuriates the man. Soon the captain arrives, who learns that they are penniless, and tells them to disembark at the nearest port. They are dropped off in Paris, and Bella, unused to thinking about where the money comes from, volunteers to look for a hotel where they will be allowed to stay for free. The search leads her to a brothel, where the elderly lady offers her to earn some coins, and Bella agrees. After receiving the money and the disappointment that not all men are as skilled in bed as Duncan, she returns to him with a bag of eclairs. Upon finding out how these pastries were earned, he becomes enraged and says it's the worst thing she could have ever done. Convinced that Duncan does not share her thirst for experimentation, the girl takes out her father's money to buy him a ticket home, but Duncan grabs the money and leaves. After some thought, Bella returns to the brothel with the firm intention to get a job there. She is happily accepted there, and Bella begins her path of becoming a courtesan. In between serving monks and one-armed men, Bella visits the anatomical theater to study medicine. During one of these visits, she meets Duncan, who tearfully begs her to return, but the girl drives him away. Meanwhile, in London, Godwin asks Max to perform surgery on him. Max finds the doctor has an inoperable tumor, and Godwin, realizing that his days are numbered, asks him to find Bella. The search leads him to Duncan, who, after a short speech that Bella is the devil in the flesh, tells him about the girl's location. After receiving the letter, Bella returns to London. The horse back. She immediately asks Godwin how she got her C-section and where her baby is. Godwin admits what he did to her body and her baby that day. Hearing this leads Bella into an existential crisis, from which she is brought out by Max with a proposal to marry him. A few days later, Godwin walks the girl down the aisle, but suddenly a man enters the church who introduces himself as General Alfie and declares that Bella is his wife, Victoria Blessington. He demands the girl to stop fooling around and return home, and Bella, determined to find out about her past life, agrees. The strangeness begins on the drive up to the house. The general pulls out a gun, saying that the servants could start a riot at any moment. At dinner, the general reveals that they shared a love of cruelty, but Victoria hated the child she was carrying for him. Having learned that Bella worked as a prostitute, he notes that the girl has always had a huge libido, but he will soon take care of it. The next day, Bella overhears the general talking to the doctor. It becomes clear that they plan to put the girl to sleep, after which they will circumcise her. This course of events clearly does not suit Bella, so she goes to Alfie and informs him that she is leaving, but he points a gun at her and orders her to drink a cocktail of gin and sleeping pills. Bella spills the contents of the glass into the general's face and grabs his gun. Out of surprise, Alfie shoots himself in the leg and then falls unconscious under the effects of the sleeping pills. Bella drags a bleeding Alfie to Max and asks him to help. Max manages to remove the bullet and stop the bleeding, but Bella pulls out Godwin's old notes and tells him that the operation is not yet complete. Returning to the doctor's room, she lies down beside him, and Godwin, kissing the girl's forehead goodbye, breathes his last. In the final scene, Bella lies in the garden while the maid plays ball with Felicity, whose motor skills have finally begun to develop. Their peace is only disturbed by the loud bleating of Alfie with the brain of a goat, who is peacefully nibbling on the grass, unable to harm anyone.